Okay, we're going to round 9, Grand Prix Baltimore. I'm Sheldon Menery along with Steve Sadin. In the booth, Rashad Miller and Nate Price. We have Mike Jacob and Ben Friedman, round 9 of Grand Prix Baltimore. Last Swiss round of the day.
Yep. Both players 7-1, already guaranteed their first into day 2. But, win here would really make a big difference in their top 8 hopes. So, we'll see. Michael Jacob is playing a very different take on Reanimator from what we've seen earlier today.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt, he's actually only one on burial rights in his main deck.
Right.
Sun
He's
Titans.
more of a dedicated control deck than a Reanimator deck.
Yeah.
It might be described as like a solar flare.
Right. I think one of the operative cards here in his deck is the Sun Titan.
Yeah.
It's gonna get a lot of mileage. Looks like Ben Friedman might have gone to 6 already. Let's see as he draws his hand.
Ben Friedman is indeed playing a pretty standard blue-white Delver deck.
He has gone to 6 and elected to keep.
So it looks a lot like the deck that Matt Cox used to make the top 8 of Perjured Dark Ascension in Honolulu.
What deck do you like in this matchup?
I think Michael Jacob has the advantage. His deck was definitely built with Delver in mind. He's really careful about his removal spells. You can see he has 3 whip players. He's got a Slag Storm. He's got Mana Leak.
You see the
seems like Michael Jacob was really just like trying to tune his deck for this matchup.
The sort of Hat Chapin inspired Pristine Talisman technology.
And Michael Jacob has just been playing 4-color control decks pretty consistently since at least the World Championships in San Francisco. Any opportunity he has to play Desperate Raving, play Oblivion Rain,
right,
play Mana Lake, he's going to take it.
You see he's going to ponder there. Kind of very techy playing white-bordered basic lands.
Sure. Michael Jacob doesn't need to impress anyone with his basic lands. Ben Friedman hasn't made a play yet. Well, giving Michael Jacob plenty of time to sort of rip through his deck, find the tools that he needs.
Yeah, the Delver deck certainly, it can go into solid control mode, but generally that early Delver,
it's huge. It allows the deck to steal so many wins before their opponents are even able to get going. Now we can see that Ben Friedman, who's just sort of rippling through his hand, we saw a couple of copies of Vapor Snag. Not going to do much in this matchup. Michael Jacob plays a Basis Looting. Like at first glance, Basis Looting doesn't necessarily seem like the kind of card that you would want in your control deck, but just the ability to rip 4 cards deep into your deck, to be able to get rid of these conditional removal spells you might not want to have in this specific matchup. To get rid of redundant Mana Leaks if the game's gone long. There are a lot of things you can do with it.
well, again, we talk a lot about resources being a significant part of the game, and having more resources to use during the course of the game when you get to choose from 35 cards versus your opponent's 15.
Right.
You've given yourself a significant advantage in the game.
Like we can just see right here, every turn, Mike Jacob has been going deeper and deeper into his deck, while Ben Friedman hasn't really been doing anything. Still certainly possible for Ben to win this game, but he really is at a distinct advantage, even though the players have only have lands on the board.
Yeah, you look at the simply the board state. You may not.
You can't infer anything. Friedman going for end of turn Snapcaster Mage. He's going to flash back a Self-Cowerwick. Fortunately, we can't currently see what he's put into his graveyard. Hopefully Rashad can help us out on that. So there we go. Friedman attacked MJ down to 18 and then played an Invisible Stalker. Sure. Really good with swords, not that great on its own. So right there, Michael Jacob cast Forbidden Alchemy. With it still on the stack, he casts Desperate. But, he doesn't want to discard a really good card that he gets off Forbidden Alchemy. Alright, I'm just going to do it now. I'm going to, discard one of the lands in my hand. Then I'm going to dig into something else.
Going to drop his 6th land.
Like a Slagstorm. So now we can see that Ben Friedman has these Vapor Snags. He's going to try to save his Snapcaster.
Friedman playing 2 Sword of War and Peace, 2 Rune Channers in his deck, so that Invisible Stalker becomes pretty important when he wants to equip up and get in.
Right, he doesn't have to worry about, about Gut Shots, about Doom Blades, about, any sort of spot removal stuff. He does still have to worry about board sweepers like Slagstorm. Jitaxian Probes. Now, Moorland Haunt, a very important card in this matchup.
Mike Jacob playing 1 Ghost Quarter. Probably about it.
Yeah, if the game drags on, Ben is just going to be able to, make it a spirit. Pretty much every turn. And that'll really force Mike to resolve something big or just lose in the air. Snapcaster Mage flashback to Ponder. Ben wasn't happy with his 3 cards, so he decided to go back to Well for more. An island, probably not what he was looking for.
A couple lands there in Mike's hand. And an O-Ring. Oblivion Ring, of course, being one of his favorite removal cards.
Yep.
This pile 1.
Which
is that a Ancient Grudge?
Looks like an Ancient Grudge.
Yeah.
Yep, he's playing 1 main deck.
Mike goes ahead and casts his first real threat of the game, Blade Splicer. And
copies it.
Plays a Phantasmal Image. We're not sure what he's going to do with it yet. We could always
copy the Snapcaster.
A lot depends on what Ben does right now.
We know Ben has a Vapor Snag in his hand.
Yep. Does copy the Blade Splicer.
And we see that Mike has a negate in his hand, and he kept that 2 mana up.
Right.
Ben makes an end-of-turn token with his Moorland Haunt.
17.
Next Mike down to 17. Playing an Invisible Stalker and passing the turn. Now Mike has just really, really strong hands, including a Whip player that he just drew that won't take out any of his Blade Slicer tokens. However, he needs to be a little bit careful. If he plays a Whip player... Oh, it only deals damage to non-artifact creatures, so he doesn't have to worry about his Golem token taking damage and then running into a Spirit token that Ben could generate out from more than one.
So there's O-Ring on the Snapcaster. Ben goes to bounce it back.
Snag.
Vapor Snag it. Mike responds with Negate.
Okay. Ben lets that go. Even though he has a Mana Leak in his hand. Wonder what Ben's planning here.
Well, he knows he's going to, if he wants to force something through in his next turn, that Mike can't pay for the Mana Leak. Or if Mike has a counterspell of some kind, he can link it.
Yeah. Now that hit just took Ben down to 9. So Ben will have at least another turn cycle, even after Mike's next attack.
14.
Getting back into the red zone.
I go 14.
And there's a Geist
All right.
from Ben.
Mike's still on 14.
The Geist becomes pretty significant.
Block a Blade Slicer. Ben's going to fall down to 2.
I go 14, then 2.
Mike Jacob is going to cast a Whip Flare. Will leave Ben without a board of any sort.
He makes another token at end of turn. It's not going to help. And game 1 to Mike Jacob over Ben Friedman. Another really, look at that face. That's another really cool character.
He does not crack under pressure.
He's one of those guys you don't know when he's winning, you don't know when he's losing.
Nope.
You just know he's playing Magic. Most of the time he's winning.
He does a lot of that.
So what do we expect to see from...
Oh, now you'll note it. Mike takes his entire sideboard, shuffles it into his deck. Doesn't want Ben to know how many cards he's boarding in or out. Yeah. Wants to keep as much of that information to himself as possible.
This probably goes in the advanced strategy section. I mean, you have to know what 15 cards you're going to take out when you try this move. What do you think we're going to see from Michael Jacob in his sideboard?
Looks like he gets to bring in a Ratchet Bomb, another Day of Judgment, Ancient Grudge. I don't know if that Phantasmal image has a home. I bet Nile Spellbomb can really do a lot here, especially when Ben's playing Soft Scour. He has Snapcaster Mage, he has Moorland Haunt, he has Runechanter's Pike, which Mike doesn't know for sure that he has yet. He didn't see it in game 1, but he can probably
suspects that it's one of the cards.
Especially if he's already seen Soft Scour. Mike's deck is already set up pretty well for this matchup. He really just gets to tune a couple more things. Ben gets to make a few more moves. He has to bring in, presumably Dissipate. giving himself a better control game. He will now have the ability to stop Mike's board sweepers. Mike goes to cast a Sun Titan. Ben will have an easier time dealing with it.
Interesting that Jace Memory Adept makes an appearance in both cycles.
Yeah. But, not quite as, like nowhere near as impactful as previous Jace, the Mind Sculptor. But Jace Memory Adept is still a very real card. There's a lot of powerful things. If it sticks around for even 2 turns, you're going to get a huge edge out of it.
All right, so Ben Friedman will be on the play.
Hoping to get a little bit more action than he had in game 1.
Remember, he mulliganed to 6 in that game, too.
True. And he had those 2 Vapor Snags,
Right.
which he was eventually able to get some use out of, but it just wasn't enough. Ben did bring in at least 1 Dissipate. Plays a first turn Taxian Probe. Sees that Michael Jacob has negate a Desperate Raving, Slagstorm, and some land. Now, having knowledge of that Slagstorm is huge. Ben now gets to play his entire game out without having to walk into Mike's board space. Plays Ponder. He's
Probably going to keep that dice, huh?
looks pretty good. He's got a Mana Lake, a sort of War and Peace, and a Geist of Saint Trap. He knows. Now, he knows that Mike can kill the Geist of Saint Trap if he just leaves it up unprotected,
Right.
with Flag. But Ben might choose to play the Sword of War and Peace first, and wait until he has enough mana to play the Geist and equip it with the sword all in 1 turn. Snapcaster Mage on Taxian Probe. Ben get a threat on the board without actually investing any cards.
So we're going to see a little more Snapcaster Mage beatdown,
Yep.
like we did earlier in the day from Turdenwald. He goes into the red zone.
It's Mike down to 18 for playing a Sword of War and Peace that could very well get countered by Negate. And does indeed.
Mike's hand isn't particularly gassy right now.
But playing Ponder, he has a Desperate Raving. He has the ability to really dig through his deck pretty quickly. And he has a Slagstorm, which could really just wipe the board at any point.
Well, Ben, I mean, he knows that Ben is not going to play out a bunch of dice
Sure.
to walk into the Slagstorm, which is effectively going to give him some turns
Yeah.
to, as you say, rifle through his library, getting to the answers that he wants to get to.
Ben, just keeps working away with his Snapcaster Mage.
I think there's no 4th land drop for Ben, though.
That could be tough.
That, yeah, you need mana to play the deck.
Yeah.
And if Mike is just going to be able to do what he wants to do at will.
Alright, so Ben Friedman just dissipated Mike's end of turn Desperate Raving. Ben doesn't want to spend the whole game just leaving 3 mana up to dissipate, especially when he only has 3 lands.
Fails to draw another land, but I think that was a Ponder Reacher Stream.
Yep. Mike doesn't want to, Mike didn't want to continue taking hits from the Snapcaster Mage. Just With
And
players hit away.
with the knowledge that the whip player is there, he might as well play it.
Well, yeah.
That's a 1-for-1. Because he's probably not going to get a 2-for-1 out of it.
Now, Ben knows that Mike still has Slagstorm left over.
So, no land in those 3 for Ben. He's got it. Well, he's going to keep it.
Yeah, and it's a good collection of cards. Oh, there's the Taxian Probe and a Snapcaster Mage right under it. We can go Probe, Snapcaster. Who gets to go through the sequence of cards, gets a 2 on it without losing any cards. Plays the Snapcaster, flashes back to Probe. It's interesting. Ben's already on 12 life.
And he's done it all himself.
Yep. All on
probing.
Taxian Probes.
There's the 4th land. Get in with the Snapcaster, sends Jacob to 14.
And Ben just threw a Geist Sustain Trap. So if he can ever get that Slagstorm out of Mike's hand, he could very easily just ride the Geist to victory.
Mike's gonna have to deal with
1-6 or 1-6.
Mike's gonna have to deal in some fashion with the Snapcaster. I mean, if that's all that Ben goes in with,
right?
Eventually, you know, he's got.
He will have to kill it.
He will have to
or
kill it.
die to it. Well, Mike still has a lot of time. He's going to be able to continue taking through that.
Ben has a handful of counter magic though, so he might be able to ride the Snapcaster to a significant portion of the Mike's life total here.
He also has a Vapor Snag, which will allow him to pick up the Snapcaster. Mike down to 12 now.
Probably going to try to. What do you think he's going to? Not going to run that Oblivion Ring out there. Ben thought scours himself.
Mike just being patient. He doesn't mind taking a couple of hits now. Second Snapcaster Mage is going to force Mike to act with a bit more of a sense of urgency.
Let me see. Ben just peeled the Jace Memory Depth.
Yeah.
They both come. Mike's going to go down to 8.
And you'll notice just how patiently most of these players are playing.
Yeah, I'd be on the edge of my seat by now.
But Ben knows, he's known from the get-go that he can't commit too many threats to the board because of Slagstorm. Mike knows that he can't use his removal spell too aggressively, or else Ben will then be able to go overboard, kill him quickly. Mike now at 8 life, staring down 2 Snapcaster Mages. Doesn't have a lot of time. He has in 2 attack steps, he's just going to be dead.
Yep.
It's like he's gearing up to play an Oblivion Ring.
He's playing a very delicate game here, a very patient.
Ben is trying to decide what he wants to do. Is he going to wait for the Oblivion Ring to resolve and then Vapor Sag a Snapcaster Mage in response? Certainly seems like the most likely play here. Just immediately picks up his Snapcaster Mage.
Any reason to not flash it in?
Not that I can see. Oh, but he does not.
Ben Friedman's showing a little patience as well.
Yeah.
Well, again, he still knows that Mike's got to deal with this one Snapcaster Mage right here and right now.
Right.
He's got 4 turns to do something about it, and he doesn't have to overcommit.
Right. Or less if Ben decides to play his second Snapcaster at the end of
the turn.
next
Right.
turn. Yeah. Mike clearly has his back against the wall at this point.
Well, we know that Ben has at least one Mana Leak in hand.
And turn Forbidden Ultimate. Doesn't really find Mike anything relevant, immediately relevant, at least. A couple of lands, a Desperate Ravings, and a Ancient Grudge.
Mike's on 8 lands, so he can drop one more land and play Sundering Titan and be out of Mana Leak. Play Sun Titan.
So,
not
two
Sundering.
entirely different things.
Yes. Play Sun Titan and be out of Mana Leak range.
Mike just plays the Slag Storm in hopes of getting rid of Ben's one remaining Snapcaster. Ben's thinking, trying to figure out what he wants to do here. Does he let his Snapcaster go, place it in to turn? Does he play Snapcaster, bring back Vapor Sag? Use a Dissipate. Then goes ahead and counters the Slag Storm.
Another Geist, I think, that Ben just drew.
Back to Mike, I believe down to 4 now.
Yes, I believe they had updated.
A little bit of lag on that. Discards a Ancient Grudge to Desperate Raving.
There's a Pristine Talisman in his hand.
Yep.
Gonna probably get a life on that. I can't see that being a source.
Ben lets go. Stick.
So now Ben's
clock just got slowed considerably.
Well, the question is, does he flash in the Snapcaster, his other Snapcaster now? No.
Looks like he's going to. He does. And does not get back anything. I guess all of his relevant card drawers are at sorcery speed right now. Mike gains a life off of the Pristine Talisman, going up to 5, and flashes back a Forbidden Alchemy.
Yep, there's the mana leak for that.
And Ben just sticks a Jace.
Doing a library count. Looks like another mana leak in Ben's hand, so I think
It's a couple of mana leaks from the looks of it.
so. It looks like this one will end canon for him. Although he's tapped out at the moment, so Mike is going to be free to play his Sun Titan.
Right, but if he can, what's the best thing he can get back with it is. Goes back up to 2 life. Still needs to be able to deal with.
He's going to get a land.
Mages this turn.
He might get a land back and play the second Sun Titan in his hand. If he has a land. Yep.
Gets back Ratchet Bomb and plays a second Snapcaster. This time returning a Copperline Gorge with like half. Ben plays a Snapcaster Mage, getting back a Vapor Snag and
Swings in for the win.
evens the match up at 1 game apiece.
So we're going to game 3. Exciting match between Michael Jacob, Ben Friedman. Last round of standard coverage here from GP Baltimore. I'm Sheldon Menery along with Steve Saden. Can't forget Nate Price, Rashad Miller over in the booth. A lot of good magic in the feature match pit here today.
I've been really happy to watch it.
There hadn't been any stalls. There hadn't been any bad mulligans. I mean, Ben did mulligan to 6.
But
Did mulligan to 6 in game 1, but
no, it's not going to come in this matchup. But Ben does have 3 copies of Ferocity on the sideboard.
as you discussed, one of your sort of cards to watch early on.
16.5 minutes.
Be curious to learn some more his thoughts on the card later.
Sam Black, we saw Sam Black there in the background of the shot before we went back to the overhead.
This has been a long day of Magic. A little bit after 10 o'clock Eastern time. So, a lot of tired players here right now. Some tired commentators, too.
Some tired commentators, too. I got a pretty good win. I don't know about you. I mean, I know you're half my age, but...
And tired commentators.
After going to war in Saudi Arabia, son, doing a day of Magic's pretty easy.
I've done one of those things. Play you guess which.
Looks like Mike is going to keep... He's got a...
They both keep their 7-card hands.
Mike's got a grip full of land.
Which, Ben's going to find out all of his secrets. Declare a slag storm and land. So, Ben knows not to commit more than one creature to the board at any point if he can help it.
Ben Friedman ended that last game at 12 life.
Ben kept a one-land hand.
He sure did.
Yeah. Figuring that he's going to be able to get to more lands with his Taxing Probe, Salt Scour, and now still hasn't found the land, but he found a Ponder, which will allow him to dig pretty deep into his deck. We see that Mike Jacob is on a desperate rating.
He's going to play in short order.
Ponder. Ben does find the land with the bottom card.
Am I reading his list right that he's played 21 lands?
Yeah. He's got a bunch of cantrips. He has Salt Scour. He has Ponder, the Taxian Probe. His deck can pretty comfortably stop at 2 or 3 lands. He also has Snapcaster Mage, which goes really well with the Taxian Probe.
Mike with the Desperate Ravings. If Mike Jacob doesn't apply any pressure to Ben Friedman, he's going to give Ben the time to dig through his deck, get his lands, set himself up for the long game.
But all the while, Mike isn't missing any land drop. He's digging deeper and deeper into his deck with Desperate Rating. He's going to start drawing into things like Forbidden Alchemy soon. He has another Desperate Rating. Looks like Ben's getting ready to probably play Snapcaster Mage soon.
That might have been that one land hand might have been one that a lot of players would have shipped back.
Right.
But Ben, knowing his deck,
didn't hesitate at all. Like, all right, no, I've got 2 Taxian Probes, a Salt Scour. I'm going to see an extra. He's going to see 2 cards, 3 cards, 5 more cards.
The Pristine Talisman gets countered. Seeming innocuous little card that
I guess Ben does not want Mike to ramp up on mana any more than he wants.
Life being also a pretty significant part of that.
Yeah, certainly. If Mike is gaining a point a turn, Ben's probably going to have to commit a second threat to the play, which is not something that he wants to do. Michael Jacob plays a Blade Splicer. Ben responds to that by playing Snapcaster Mage and flashing back a Mana Leaf. Successfully counters it.
Now he's getting into his land. You see Mike there has Day of Judgment in his hand that Ben, one of the cards that Ben, few cards that Ben doesn't know he has.
Yeah. But I think at this point, Ben is just going to operate assuming that Mike has a Board Sweeper and pretty much all the time. Ancient Grudge takes out Runecanter's Pike.
And you had it. Alright, take it.
Mike still falls to 18 from the attack.
Michael 18 and 14.
Mike is, fully aware that Ben has no plans to commit more threats to the board. Plays a whip player. Prompts Ben to Vapor Snag back his own Snapcaster Mage.
I go 18.
Ben casting a Ponder. Does not like what he sees and shuffles the stack up for a new card.
Again, just as cool a characters there come. Like Jacob just don't know whether he's winning or losing.
Yep.
More Desperate Ravings. Elish Norn in the graveyard.
Discarded. But that's actually a good thing for Mike right now, who has a Unburial Right in his hand. Tries for a Jace Memory Atom. Which can get countered by Snapcaster Mage, flashing back Mana Leak. And that's gonna open up. It's gonna give Ben an opportunity to resolve his own Jace Memory Atom, should he so choose.
First thing he does is get into the red zone. 2 damage, and there's Jace.
Yeah, that's the Jace. And goes ahead and mills the top 10 Michael Jacobs' library into his graveyard. Ben knows that Mike doesn't have that many good flashback cards. But
Does have Elish Norn.
does happen to have, could happen to have one in his hand, the Unburial Right to use to attack
Which then gets Vapor Snag.
Yep.
I go 15. Meg 13.
Then again, mills Mike for 10. Mike can't handle that many more turns.
Graveyard stretch.
Sorry there.
As long as Ben can just keep his chase alive for another couple of turns, he's going to take the win. It's up to Mike to try to sneak through some sort of threat he can use to kill off Jace. Flashes back Unburial Right. Targeting Sunday.
Met with a Mana Leak, which is responded to with a negate. So if there's an O-ring in his graveyard, which I don't think there is,
Alright, that's fine.
looks like it resolves.
Yeah.
What's Mike going to get back here?
He's going to go for Blade Splicer, just give himself more threats. He's having Mike count his library.
Another type magic?
Yeah.
Match of magic.
Yeah.
Target's Phantasmal Image.
Oh, wow. So,
He's going to Vapor Snag.
with the Sun Titan trigger on the set, targeting Phantasm on it. Ben, paper snags it, allows Mike to copy his Snapcaster Mage versus Phantasm.
We're playing. I mean, Ben is playing the tempo game here.
Mills Mike for another 10. Yeah, Ben doesn't have to deal Mike any damage to win this game. He just needs to keep his chase alive. And not for much longer either.
Yeah, I think he only has to mill him one more time.
Yeah, I don't know if he immediately kills him on one mill. It might take, take two. But even if he doesn't kill him on that first mill, it's going to be tough for Mike to come back and win from that spot. Flashes back faceless looting. He does find an Oblivion that he can use to get Jace off the table if it resolves.
So it's all down to this right here, right now. Oblivion Ring. No counterspell for Ben.
Alright, that will resolve. Go.
Well, after milling through most of his deck, Ben has now moved over to the beatdown plan. He just made a token with Moorland Haunt, and he's probably going to be equipping that token pretty soon. Ben trying to decide between playing something or just equipping his Rune Champion's Pike.
He's got that sword in his hand, which
He goes for Pike. And Mike has access to artifact removal in his graveyard. He's got those ancient grudges. Over, can't cast them right now.
7. I think I counted 7.
Take 3. 1. Yeah.
So Ben attacks in with both of the creatures. The Snapcaster Mage's Trade and the Spirit with Rune Champion's Pike gets through.
Michael 3.
We'll get the exact count from
Correct.
the booth. Okay. No, it was 10.
All the way down to 3. Now, Ben has the ability to generate more tokens with Marlin Hawk.
Doesn't look good for Mike Jacob here,
No.
because even if he gets rid of the pike, the sword.
Plays Sun Titan. Time. He's again going for the Phantasmal. Oh, no. He just goes straight for the Ratchet. He does not want to leave himself vulnerable to Vapor Snap. So he figures he's in good shape. Why risk it? Token. Immediately dealt with by the Ratchet Bomb.
Which Mike can now do can get the ratchet bomb.
Oh, no. Ben plays his own Phantasm Mage, copying the same thing. Gets back a Snapcaster Mage. Gets back a Vapor Snag.
Michael 2.
Snags the Sun Titan. Puts Mike all the way down to 2. And he plays a Sword of War and Peace.
Does not look good for Mike Jacob right here. He's got to deal with 2 dudes, either of which can get equipped up and kill him.
But Ben is tapped out, means that Mike can get back a whole chain of Phantasmal Images copying Sun Titans. Which, he's already putting his Phantasmal Images aside. Getting ready for that.
And then probably the last thing in the chain is the ratchet bomb.
That would make a lot of sense, yeah.
So he can take out the Moreland Hunt token.
Definitely. Gives himself some insurance.
Still, Mike Jacobs back up against a considerable wall here.
Right. I don't know how many cards he has left in his deck. It can't be very many.
Well, he has 3 7-lands in play. Oblivion Ring is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Rashad, can we get a rough estimate as to how many cards Mike Jacob has left in his library? Huh?
What was that? Looked like 3. 8. 8 cards. So, just surviving isn't going to be enough. Plays an Oblivion Ring. Takes out that Phantasmal Image. Mike's hand is so powerful right now.
He's got an Eldritch Norn right there on top.
Yep, and 2 Sun Titans behind it. Like that just seems like, awesome hands when he has this kind of mana, but will it be good enough? Right. Players are now in turn 1 of extra cards.
Mike Ghost Quarters the Moreland Hunt. So Ben can't make more. Ben can't make more tokens.
Nope.
Not scary you.
And plays a Salt Scour.
Was that a negate he just peeled?
Looks like he's got a Phantasmal Image in his hand. Should Mike Jacob play a Sun Titan? Get a lot of mileage out of it himself.
Players are in the 3rd turn now? It happened!
Looks like Mike Jacob scooped.
Huh?
The old butt scour.
He knew he had nothing in. Ben Friedman can copy whatever creature he has.
Yeah.
Come across with the
Man. Thank you very much, guys. I played not very well.
with the sword or the pike and win.
That was really something.
That was that was a tight game. Goes back into all the good games we've had all day.
Wouldn't have dealt him 1 point damage.
Everything from the top to the bottom.
Okay, I was making sure.
Spectacular.
I mean, it was looking